Hello, everyone.
Hey guys, welcome to Tactical Tuesday. Another one already, comes quick, it seems. Welcome everyone. We've got a hot topic tonight. Really cool, actually. We asked a whole bunch of money partners, what do you want in an investor? You know, what is it that you look for? And the answers are really awesome, really intriguing. Are we in the right group?
Yes.
Okay. Interestingly, we asked, this was before actually this part, we asked a few people, you know, what do you think that people want in a working partner? Like, what do you think a money partner is looking for when they're looking for someone to invest with? What do you think are the things that they need? And so again, really interesting answers. So let's compare them and let's see, the differences and what's actual fact versus what's myth. So let's get in there. Ready to roll? Well,
also, for some reason, let me turn that down. The comments aren't coming through, but yes, people are there. For some reason, we can't see the comments, and I'm not sure why. But anyways.
Okay, that's good. Then at least we know that it's here, so I can just jump in here and watch them from there because I need to be able to answer. Okay, so guys.
And by the way, thanks for saying hi as you come on.
Yeah.
That has confirmed for us that somebody is watching because from what we can see on our screen, it's showing 0 people and 0 comments. But we can see you guys here on our phones and our devices. So thanks for joining us again. A really cool topic that we, like Tiff said, we've asked money partners, we've asked our money partners, what was it that made you say yes? What was it? What was it about us that made you invest your hard-earned dollars with us? And so, we're going to share some of those tips tonight. And I bet you, before we go on, I bet you that that some of the things we're going to say and talk about tonight are not what you're expecting at this point.
Totally, yeah. And for you Igniteds, in what would it be under? Interviews, I believe. There is an interview with a long-time money partner. He didn't just invest with us; he invested with other people too. And he tells us why he invested with us. Because I said to him, "So, all these years later, do you remember what it was?" And so, really interesting. So that one's in Ignited as well. So, in Grimsby, hey Liz from Grimsby. Let us know where you're from. That's great. So guys, I have a question for you. So full participation tonight. We always love when we get lots of participation back. So throw stuff in comments, ask your questions, all that kind of stuff. But I have a question for you in the first place. So if I were to ask you, as I asked, money partners, but if I were to ask you, what do you think a money partner wants in a working partner? So just to be clear, we're Corey, we should step back a second. We're Corey and Tiffany Young. We're co-founders of Investor Life. We bought over 100 properties using other people's money, not our own. We didn't have any experience. We didn't have any money of our own, but we used other people's. So now we teach other people how to scale their portfolios using that same method.
How to invest in real estate using other people's money, because you know what? A lot of other people out there have money. And a lot of other people want to invest in real estate but don't know how. So that's where we became the expert, and that's where you guys can become the experts as well. And what the whole purpose of this group really is to do is to take the fear out of investing. There's a lot of fears out there, and that's why we call it fearless investors, because we are lessening that amount of fear when we are doing things right and when we can learn from others that have already done it. And so we'd love to share our experiences. And today we're going to talk about the top 4 things that our money partners told us was important, and other money partners, people who lend money, have told us is important to them.
Yeah, so we polled, and we got some great, really insightful answers for you today. So, hey guys, hey Terry, so nice to see you.
So Tiff, first of all, what we want to do is find out, what do you think,
guys? What do you think? Yeah.
What do you think is something, put it in 1 word, 2 words, what are some things that you think money partners are looking for in a working partner? When they're looking to invest their money, let's say, it's usually tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars that a money partner is going to invest in a joint venture or into real estate. What are they looking for? Okay, so sometimes we just focus on what we are looking for, but what do you think the money partner is looking for in that relationship or in that investment? Throw some ideas in the
Yeah.
chat because I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Okay, so
Yeah.
Harry says transparency. Unfortunately, we can't share your comments on screen today, but transparency, is my money secure? Shelley says authenticity,
Yeah.
trust and integrity. Harry says experience.
A lot of these are
that,
ignited.
yeah, and you know what?
Well
you can see a
trained.
common theme here. So integrity,
Yeah.
communication, commitment, past performance, security,
I saw security,
honesty, exactly.
How to get my
So
money
you
back.
guys get the point here. That's what money partners are looking for. A lot of the things that you brought up here, dependability and competence. You know, if I'm going to give somebody $100,000 and have them put it to work for me, yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of research on that person, and I'm going to want to know a few things about them.
Yeah, for sure. So what's really interesting about this is we did a joint venture workshop a few years back. It was a small room group, which was really nice. And we asked everyone in the room to come up with, at the beginning of the day, so these guys are really green to joint venturing. At the beginning of the day, just ask them to tell us, what do you think that a partner would want? And here's the top answers that we got. We got, and variations of it, but pretty much experience. They thought in order to give me their money, they're going to want to know that I have experience. They want someone that has skin in the game. In other words, someone who has some money in the game. That was a very common answer. They don't want to give someone money that doesn't have any money in the game. They want everyone to have some money in the game. Already successful. So, and interestingly, it didn't have to be in just real estate, but it was success. They wanted, to see that they've already been successful in something. And the last answer, more common one, was that they already have a ton of property. Only people that have a ton of property already are going to get money partners. That's what really green.
Let's clarify. Those things that you just said are what people thought money partners were looking for. This is not what money partners said they are looking for, okay? But this is a common theme about what a lot of people think that money partners are looking for. Experience, skin in the game, already successful, have a lot of properties. But is that reality? Is that really the way it is?
So again, like we told you, we polled our investors. We also polled other money partner investors, both private lending and joint venture partners, because the path is very similar for both. And really interesting what we came up with. So tonight we're sharing the top 4 things that a money partner wants. Now, what do they come down to? They come down to one thing. And that one thing is,
it was mentioned,
trust.
Yeah.
So it all boils down to that, but we're going to break it down and talk about each of the components that a money partner really wants and needs to see before they're going to part with their hard-earned money. Okay? So the 4 things are, they want credibility. Interestingly, though, it doesn't have to be in real estate, right? That's really interesting. Secondly, they want communication. What kind of communication? We're going to break that down for you. Thirdly, they want momentum. They don't want to have to train someone else. They don't want to have to put time or energy or effort or brain power or more education or more learning or more time into any of it. They want to jump on momentum. And they look for creativity. So creativity, how does that come into play? That's what we're going to hit today, guys.
And all 4 of those things, so communication, credibility, momentum, and creativity, all add to the trust value. Okay, so that's the key to all this, is if we can build trust and people believe what we're going to say and they trust that we're trying our best and all of those sorts of things, that's what enables people to lend their money out. That's what enables people to be able to raise money as a working partner if they are exhibiting these qualities. So those are the points that we're going to go over in a little bit greater detail on each one.
And as we go through, we're going to tell you a little bit here and there about how that did work out for us. Like looking back, we can see it. Of course, we didn't know. We didn't have a system to follow. But now looking back, we're like, oh yeah, because remember when this happened and then that happened or whatever it might be. So yeah, for sure. Like,
you got it, Karen. You got it.
Karen's got it. Communication,
Yeah.
credibility, momentum, creativity. You got it.
And Jared, I was waiting for somebody to make a comment about that, about our background. We put up this wall here earlier in the week, and
Exploded on the wall.
yeah, I told Tiff before we came here, okay, I can't wear a flowered shirt today because there's enough flowers in here already.
I love this wall
Yes.
thing. I've had it for over a year and we just never put it up. But welcome to COVID. Extra time.
Okay, which
so
one are we
true or
starting
false?
with? Okay, true or
True or
false?
false,
Yes,
guys.
we like this. Okay, T for true, F for false.
All
Put it
right,
in the comments.
ready to type it in? If the deal is amazing, you'll have people banging down your door. No matter what, it's the numbers first. Okay?
True or false? True or false? If the deal is amazing, people will
buy.
bang down your doors.
People will buy.
Okay, we'll just wait a couple minutes. No, a couple seconds for some of your comments to come through because there's a bit of a delay. Thank you, Carlene and Jared. They like your wallpaper, by the way. Yeah. All right.
All right. We got a
Okay, false, Carlene.
False.
Michael, false. No
Good.
fake seed planting, please. Yes. Okay.
All right.
Good
False.
mantra, Nicole. So everybody's kind of guessing false here.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
a lot of igniteds, which is good. It makes me very happy to
It's funny,
see.
once one or two people put false, then everyone else feels a little braver to put false.
Maybe. But it's really, really, really interesting that is one of the things we heard throughout our, first probably 10 years. I mean, false. No, wait, true. No, false. We heard that it's a very standard thing in the joint venture world to teach that is, listen, guys, if you have a good enough deal, that's all you need. Just go in there. And I'll tell you what, I did. And I left more opportunities, meetings, whatever, almost in tears, if not in tears, feeling like a failure, feeling like I hadn't done it. Because why? I took that advice. We're going to show you the difference.
So let me just expand slightly on that comment, just to clarify, because yes, numbers are extremely important. Don't get us wrong there. That's how we make our decisions as investors. But if somebody is going to invest in somebody and the numbers look amazing and they're awesome, but you don't trust the person, you're not going to get an investor, right? But if you trust the person and the numbers don't look amazing, that person might get an investor. So what's more important? Is it numbers or is it trust? Trust will trump numbers all 7 days to Sunday. Okay. So that's kind of the point of that question is, if the deal is amazing, are people going to bang down your door? Well, no, there has to be more to it than just the numbers. Okay.
Yeah. So secondly, now I'm just going to kind of rephrase this one, how I wrote it out. Secondly, if you don't have a deal or an opportunity to offer someone, there is no point in pursuing. You have to get your ducks in a row first, get the deals, get things all settled, and then go talking to people. Is that true or false, guys? Come on, Igniteds, you know this. True or false?
What was the question?
Do you have to have a deal to get rolling with talking to partners? Do you have to have a deal?
So sometimes there's that chicken and the egg thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I have to have a deal to get a partner, or do I have to have a partner to get a deal?
Yeah.
And so really your question is, do you have to have a deal in order to get a partner on the hook? In order to be able to reel in a partner, do you have to have an amazing deal, or do you even have to have a deal to get that process going? Okay. Yeah. And we see all the answers coming through. False, 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 false. Exactly. And a lot of them are our Ignited members and some aren't, but yes, you guys got it. Dead on, dead on.
So again, a misconception that I recently just heard again is that you want to get your property first, and that's what you want to get, ducks in a row, and then you want to go out. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we got around that, because for us, like, we were not in a position to be able to go and get a property under contract. We didn't have the money even to do one property on our own. So a lot of people say, go out there, buy a property, try to joint venture it out, and if you don't, then fine. Buy it yourself. Well, we didn't have that option, so we had to work around it. So, and then the last one, the way to get more deals is to have more experience. Does experience have anything to do with it? We just talked about that. We just gave you that answer.
So the question
experience-
is, do you have to have experience to get a partner?
Yeah.
Do you have to have experience to get a partner? What do you guys think? So that's our last true and false question. Do you have to have experience? Because that, again, is the number one thing people think when they're first starting out. I don't have experience. I can't get a partner. What do you think? Do you have to have experience to get a partner? We see some answers coming through now. No, no, no. No, absolutely. It's false. You do not have to have experience to get a partner. When we first started, we didn't have experience and we got
None.
partners. So having experience, having a lot of properties already, having a lot of money, having all of that kind of stuff is not what is going to bring you partners. Okay.
Yeah, and Karen, you hit on something we're going to talk about in a minute. Is that you got to have a kick-ass team, absolutely, and that's going to lead us right into our next topic here of the number one thing that we heard from money partners is they want someone with credibility. Now, does that make those of you that don't have any experience want to just throw in the towel and forget about it? Because I think that's what I would have heard when I was first starting out, was great. I guess that counts me out. But let's talk a little bit about what that means.
Yeah.
What is credibility? So one huge thing, it's massive, I'm telling you, in so many things with tenants. I use it every day, all day long, is do people follow through? Now, I am not a person that follows through. So I have to have a team that can and will do those things for me. So do I have to have that tool? No. But do I have to put systems in place so that there is that being caught? Absolutely. I have the attention of a mouse. I can never follow through with stuff. So I have a team, a partner, and men that, take care of me, and previous teams too, and they do that. So does it have to be, you? No. But here are some things that we really want to, stop and ask ourselves.
So yeah, one of the number one things, first of all, is like Tiff said, do you have to be perfect at everything? No. She is not the greatest sometimes at numbers or follow through, but she is amazing at coming up with brilliant ideas and strategies and creativity.
Really?
So yeah, and I'm not the most creative guy at times, but I will follow through. When I have a task, I'll make sure it gets done. So, we work together as a team. Maybe you're missing some things, so you need to work together with somebody and build a team. The point is, whatever it is you're missing, make sure you can fill those boots one way or the other. So that can be with a partner, or it can be with somebody on your team, and then a partner will want to partner with you.
So like Joan and Gord, they're Ignited members, and they've been rocking and rolling. They are this close to being financially independent, which is amazing. And they've partnered with Shelly Visser. So they are now moving into a project that they didn't have any experience in, but they didn't have to because Shelly does. So you see how that can all work. But here's the thing. There's little tiny things. How we do one thing is how we do all things.
Very, very important point there, guys, is following through. A lot of times maybe you're in a discussion and somebody says, well, what is the vacancy rate of XYZ neighborhood? And you might not know. And so you say, remember what we talked about last week and the week before? I'm going to find that out for you and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, you don't have to know.
This is a small thing. But if you don't get back to that person with the question that they asked, that person knows that. They're thinking about it. He promised to get back to me. She promised to get back to me, and they never did. So what has that done to your credibility if you don't get back to somebody when you promised you would?
Really
so
big.
Whatever happens in the small things, people are going to imagine that's going to happen in the big things. They don't get back to me there. What if I have an issue with needing some money out? What if we have a cash call? Or what if this or that happens? How are they going to deal with it then? So the point is, what you do in the small things has a big effect on how somebody is going to view your credibility. So one of the things to work on for sure is to make sure if you do make a promise, no matter how small it is, follow through with that promise.
Yeah. So, one thing that we hear a lot about is that, people will judge you based on the little things. So faithful in little, faithful in much. We've heard that before. And if you aren't faithful in those little things, then they're not going to think they can depend on you. So here's one way that we apply that in a big way is that in our research, let's say that we start quoting numbers or stats. Maybe we like economics. Maybe we heard that, Ontario is going to lead our province or the country in GDP this year. And that's a good, indicator of what's going to happen in the economy. So we hear that and then we start quoting it to our money partners. And we get someone who goes, really? I didn't hear that. The report that I read actually said the opposite. So where did you get that from? If you can't back up the numbers, the research, your reasons for investing in an area, a type of property, a certain kind of strategy, if you can't back that up, you will lose your credibility in an instant.
When I talk to a lot of investors sometimes, and maybe when we're onboarding them into our Ignited program, or in the past when I was a realtor, I would be, hearing their strategy and what they wanted to do and where they wanted to go. And it was amazing how many investors, I asked them, why? Okay, so that's your strategy. Why did you choose that? What are you doing that for? Like, what are the reasons behind it? And there was no answer to it.
Or the number one that we heard was, so we'd say, okay, so how come you're investing in wherever, Timbuktu? And they'd say, oh, well, I used to live there. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh, good.
Or I have an uncle or aunt that lives there.
Yeah.
And they can help me manage the property, or they can run errands for me. Or, there's a million reasons why people choose to invest sometimes. But if we are going to choose to invest and have partners invest with us, we need to know why we're investing in that area. We talked about it 3 weeks ago, how to choose a market. We talked last week about how to choose a property. We have to know the facts behind it and know the reasons why and justify that. And that all comes down to doing our research, as Tiff said. When we're doing our research and when we can back up the things that we're going to say and back up our strategies, then we are going to come across as far more credible than even somebody who might have 10 properties already. If they can't back up why they bought those properties or how good of a job they're doing with those properties, that's going to be useless. So the point is, it's not about how many properties you own, but it is about how much knowledge have you gained? How much research have you done? How much education have you taken in? And that adds a lot to your credibility.
And let's just be really clear. You don't have to know all those answers off the bat. If you're talking about something, you don't have to be like, oh, well, I got it from this and that. You don't have to know it all. But you have to be able to say, you know what, let me find it for you and I'll send it to you. It was a report I read on RBC Economics. It was a news headline that I saw or whatever it is. So let me just get it to you and then follow through with it. I love Sherry's, I love Brene Brown. She's amazing. And she says, trust is built in the smallest of increments. And it's so very true. So guys, when we're building trust, when we're building those relationships with our joint venture partners, it is absolutely critical and crucial that you follow through on whatever you said you're going to do, or don't commit. That's the other thing. Don't commit then. And that's a big one for me to have learned. But I had to, because I was dropping balls, and that's just credibility nightmare. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. But anyways, someone did ask, they said, can you explain what a typical JV is? So let's just stop and explain that real quick.
So a typical joint venture is somebody puts in the money, qualifies for the mortgage, does the financial side of things.
So let's say that's me. That's me as a money partner.
So let's say Tiff is a money partner, and I don't have the money to put down, and I can't qualify for the mortgage. So we work together where she puts the money down, qualifies for the mortgage. I do all the legwork or all the work involved, which means I might go out and find the property, negotiate on the property, close on the property, put the tenants in the property, manage the manager, do any renovations necessary, or manage the contractors. I'm going to sell the property in the end. I'm going to do all the work involved in that property. She is going to invest passively. I am going to invest with my time and energy. And together we split the profits. So that's what a joint venture is.
Yeah.
She gets her money back at the end and we split any profits. And so that's what we're talking about when it comes to a joint venture.
We've each brought something to the table that the other one doesn't have. I might want to invest in real estate, but I don't have the education or the time or the ability to put that in my lifestyle. But I still want to invest in real estate, but how can I do that? I find a partner that does have the time, the ability, the education, and then we invest together. So that's typically what a joint venture is. So, last thing under credibility. So we need to be making their life easier. We need to become their expert. So by becoming their expert, we're able to have them use us. And it's interesting, we had this one investor that for probably 5 years, anytime he needed a painter or a cleaner or to understand a strategy and I mean, we were still learning, 5 years in, we were absolutely still actively learning. And so, he'd be like, well, how do we do this? And what do we do with that? And I'd say, you know what? That's a good question. Let me find out for you. I mean, he could have done his own research, but he didn't. He would just always ask us, always, every time we saw him, I have a question for you. So anyways, for years and years and years, we just did that. And, we'd go out for lunch at different real estate events and stuff like that. And we just became his experts. We became his go-to people. Well, guess what? Something happened in his family. It's sad. He did get an inheritance, so that wasn't the fun part. But he ended up with an inheritance. And guess what? He was like, I realized how little I know. And I have this inheritance and I want to invest it with you guys. So when you create this ability to serve others and go in with this attitude of service to others, you become their expert. And when you become their expert, when they need you and want you, they're going to turn to you, and others also see them turning to you. And that's a really big point, is that when others see that you're the person that people go to answer their questions, that's the person that they want managing their money, because that's the person that knows and is figuring it all out. And so all of those things combine to bring credibility. Can you say, I'm just learning, I don't know, but guess what? Like Karen mentioned, that's a last note here under credibility, is you can use your team. You can use, like we are in Ignited, we have people that will say, I don't know, but I can talk to Corey and Tiff and I can find out and I'll get back to you. And then they go back to them and say that. They don't have to know everything as long as they know someone who does know everything.
Nobody knows everything, right? And that's the thing.
We had a question today in Ignited where I was like, you know what? I don't know the answer to that, but guess what? I know someone that will. And so I'll reach out to my network. And now anyone in Ignited now can say the same thing.
And no one does expect you to know everything. No. And that's kind of the key to all of this, is to understanding that the expectations of a money partner is for not for, yes, they want to invest with an expert, but that doesn't mean every expert knows every single thing about everything. There's a lot of stuff that we know nothing about when it comes to real estate investment. But if we need to know, we have the team members to fall back on. And that's really what Tiff's talking about. So all of these points that we've been talking about so far relate to building credibility. And that's one of the factors that builds trust. So we talked about trust being the number one thing, most important thing. People have to trust you in order to invest with you. And one of the ways to build that trust is establishing your credibility. And so those are the ones that we've talked about so far, that you can go about doing that. So point number 2 is momentum and drive.
Momentum and drive. So really interesting. We started learning again by mistake halfway through, when talking to people about what we wanted to do and where we were headed, that people were really attracted to the idea of investing with people that had drive and momentum. So again, for those of you that don't know us, we were 24, we had no money, and we had no experience in real estate. So we did build our credibility on other things, on what we had done so far. We were running a small business that was doing well. We had rented my dad's place out for him, so we had a little bit of property management experience. So we used our credibility in talking to people. But at the end of the day, what really got them was, I would say to them, I realize that this is ambitious, but I need 10 more properties this year, or whatever the number was. I need 8 more properties this year. I need 6 more properties this year in order to hit my goals. And I'm not going to be able to do that without partners. So that's why I'm looking for money. I didn't have to say, I have zero money. I have no money. I mean, they knew it, obviously, or else I'd be doing it on my own probably, because I clearly had the time. But I just had to say, I've got a goal, and to hit it, I'm going to need to find partners. Mm-hmm. And there was so much more power in saying that than, hi, can you give me your money, please? Because I really, really need it. And I really want to do this thing called real estate. Can you guys see the difference, the shift in power that you get when you're able to say that to someone? We just have this goal. So how attractive do you think it is? And I think of it as a train. You see a train that's already rolling along. You know that you can jump on there and you can be to your next destination in no time because it's rolling. It's already going. You don't have to get the friction and the brake and get the engines going and all that stuff. It's rolling. Now, are you a train that's rolling? So I'm not saying you have to have properties. I'm not saying you have to have it all figured out and have some experience and have, be able to say, oh, I have 10 properties. Well, yeah, of course you're going to be attractive to an investor, right? That's not what we're talking about. Are you rolling in your investing? How's your knowledge? How's your education? How's your network? How are you doing in talking with people? How do you answer questions? Are you moving forward? It does not mean have a property, but are you moving? Joint venture partners want people that have momentum and that have that drive, that they can jump on that train with you. Chug, chug, choo, choo. Hey, it's working.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. In my body language and language, for sure. Joan, it's definitely takes practice in front of a mirror, in front of a video camera, doing these crazy things with your hands and going, man, that just doesn't feel natural. But, eventually it does. I've been a hand talker my whole life though. But so you guys, this is another thing with momentum. Money partners don't want to wait. If they didn't mind waiting, they wouldn't be investing with you because they would just wait until they had the time. They would wait until they got the education. They would wait until their lifestyle supported it. Their kids grew up or whatever. But they don't like to wait. They want in now. But guess what? If you make them wait, if you don't have that train rolling and some momentum to offer them, they're going to be waiting with you too.
And we did that. We made mistakes with that.
Oh,
we had joint venture partners that were ready, were willing, were literally writing a check in front of us and handing it to us. And one of the stories that Tiff tells often is how she handed that check right back.
But like it was disease. I was like, oh,
you know what? Sometimes people can feel that momentum. They can feel that drive. They know that we are going to do what we're going to say we're going to do. They know they have that trust. They can see the credibility based on the research we've done and the strategies we've described to them. They can see all of that, even if we didn't have any properties, and they're ready to go. But if we're not ready to go, if we don't know that next step, if we are not confident enough to say, yes, write that check, let's go out and I'm gonna work for you, work with you to find this next property where, that is going to be my main priority. If we can't make them our main priority, then, they quickly jump off of that train.
Yeah, they're going to go find a train.
They're going to go find another train.
Yeah.
And so like Tiff says, keep that momentum going, keep that drive going. People will just thrive off of that. If you have the credibility, it goes along with that. These are the things that build that trust when they can watch and they can see somebody doing what they're doing.
Use your team. If you don't have credibility yourself, you can say that, my realtor team is, the best in the city. They're investors themselves. They this, they that, that, blah, blah, blah. If, you're part of Ignited, obviously, you can absolutely use someone else's credibility to take all of that clutter and just simplify. I'll get back to you, and you automatically have the credibility of the people that you surround yourself with. So who are you surrounding yourself with? Who's in your network? Your network equals your net worth. We know that.
So first
in
of
your
all,
network.
absolutely. And congrats, guys, for being here. Congrats for being in this fearless group. There's a lot of momentum, and there's a lot of people with drive here right within this group. Within our Ignited group, there's a ton of drive and momentum happening. So, when you surround yourself with the right people that are taking action and that are doing this, it only helps you, right? So a money partner that's looking to invest knows that too. And they want to invest with somebody that they can see is moving and shaking.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean, let's just reiterate this, that you have to have 5-10 properties in the last month or the last year or ever. It just means you're moving in that right direction. So get those wheels turning on your train.
So just going to kind of reply back. So Carissa, talk about writing a book. I've started a book like 3 or 4 times. I just don't have the follow through to finish it. Seriously. It's like, and no one can do that for me. It's like push-ups. No one can do my push-ups for me.
We took a cruise 5 years ago, and
to write a book, and then we
the
did.
main
That's all we
purpose
did.
of it was to write a book, and we got 4 chapters done, and then
I think we got more.
I don't think we've looked at it since. So
it's just so hard to write a book. To me, it's like it's torture actually, because it's detail oriented and my brain doesn't work that way. I was just going to point out, like Mike and Julie, the Ottawa ROI guys, hey, maybe we should. Anyways, our first domino fell and there was no stopping it now. Like, you don't know when it's going to hit you, but when it does, it is amazing how that momentum rolls. And I really like this one. Oh, where is it? Oh.
Hi. Okay.
There. Make sure you hook your caboose up to the right train. I love it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, guys. So give them a moving train to jump on. Okay, get them some momentum and let them see that you are taking action in your own life, in your own personal finances, with other people, networking, all that kind of stuff. Okay, in your education. Now let's talk about communication for a minute.
Oh, big one. Real big one in building trust.
Yeah, Grant, co-author. There's an idea. I've thought of it a million times. But again, I need someone that's going to drive that train. Anyways, okay. So communication, we've seen where we're just hanging out, talking to people, and they say, we have an offer to present to you. We're like, okay, yep, we're, open to it or whatever. Not anymore, but we used to be. And, they'd come in and they'd sit down and they'd all of a sudden be like, are you ready? And we're like, oh, ready? Like, we'd be like, hey, how's it going? Good. How's your day? Yeah, good. Are you ready? And we're like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. I wanted to take this opportunity today to thank you very much for the time that you're giving me today. Your financial future is very important to you and your family. And I wanted to take this time to, and they all of a sudden changed. Like, they weren't themselves anymore. They were following a script.
You sit down and you're starting to talk with them, and they are like, oh, my hands are sweating, and I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm so nervous. Sorry about this. I'm really sorry about this.
Sorry.
Okay.
How about if I start over in a couple minutes here?
Yeah. I just got to look at something.
Okay. So what's the point? When we communicate with people, we need to communicate as we normally are. They are normal people.
As if they are normal people.
And we just need to talk to people like talking to people.
Yeah.
And we don't need to put on a script. We don't need to be a slick salesman.
We don't need to have a fancy presentation.
We just need to communicate like normal people. And this is one of the biggest mistakes we see people make, especially when they're sitting down with a potential partner, or even if they're writing emails to a potential partner. They clam up. They get too formal. They use words they normally don't use.
Right.
They use too big of words that don't even know the explanation
to. They get super in a box. Keep
it simple and communicate like a normal human, and that will go a long ways.
It's really key. So just be you. But now, when do we communicate with people? How do we communicate? Let's say that we, don't know them all that well. We don't want to be that pesky person that's sending weird updates or, family newsletters and never, really talks about anything. We don't want to be that person that randomly sends an email and says, hey, can you invest with me? We got to create a relationship, right? So this communication stuff, we do need to have it. We need to be top of mind. So there's things that we can do. We talk about our good news in Ignited. We talk about our good news our good news report is what I used to call it, is just, hey, you know what? And again, you're becoming a resource for them. That builds your credibility, but it also gives you a reason to communicate with them. Hey, you had talked about investing in northeastern BC, whatever. I saw this article, thought you might enjoy it. Take good care, whatever. You don't have to create a big conversation around it, but just, hey, thought you might like this. Oh, I was looking at a vacancy rate map. We saw this fearless training last week and they used this vacancy. So I looked it up for the area that we were talking about. I thought I'd share it with you. Here you go. So it doesn't have to be a big conversation or a big deal, but you do have to stay top of mind. So you do have to communicate.
Yes. And I just lost my train of thought. Liz was talking about the mug, flowers on the mug.
Oh, yeah.
We got flowers everywhere today.
That's my mug, actually, for once. But
what were you just talking about?
Top of mind?
Yes.
Sending reports, good news reports, I used to call it. Anyways,
yes.
Okay, I'll keep on moving.
I forget.
So this
It
is
was
a really good
point too.
You guys have probably heard, well, you'll remember it, I think. There's a really good thing called mirroring, and I'm sure you've heard of it before. But we can mirror in person and we can mirror on emails too. I can tell you 100% that there are a lot of people that I get talking to, especially like at events where we've been on stage and there's a lot of energy and there's a lot of stuff going on. I have to slow down, take a deep breath, and mirror them. No more hand talking. Yes, Danielle, I saw your thing. I am Latin as well. But if they're calm, I need to be calm. I need to communicate with them in the way they can hear me. If I'm hyper and in their face, and that's not them, they don't want it. So I need to communicate with them in how they hear me, in how they're hearing me, not how I want to communicate. That goes for emails too.
So that comes down to really just listening. And we can learn to mirror by asking questions. So like, for example, if I wanted to have a conversation with Tiffany, I might ask her a question and then see how she responds to that question. Does she go on with really, really great detail? Does she give me the Cole's Notes version? How does Tiffany respond to my questions? And then when they ask me questions, I can mirror that and respond in the same way. Sometimes I'm talking to somebody, and you guys probably know what we're talking about. You're talking to somebody who's super hyper, and you get hyper in talking with them. Or somebody that's just like calm, mellow, and slow, and it calms us down and we get mellow and slow. The point of this, we don't want to be the hyper person if we're talking to a calm one, or we don't want to be the calm one if we're talking to a hyper one. We want to mirror the way that they like to communicate or be communicated with. And if we do that, that helps in our communication. And the point I wanted to share earlier
good, you remembered.
Was when it comes to emailing, when it comes to keeping in touch, our good news reports, like Tiff often says, how often have you been signed up to an email list and you only hear from that person when they need something? Here's a great deal I'm trying to offer you, or here's this I'm trying to offer you. And you hear nothing in between. And sometimes it goes a long period of time before you hear from them.
And then they pop up.
And then all of a sudden they come back with, I need something else from you. So what's the point? The point is stay regular in your communication with those good news reports. If you're sending them once every 2 weeks, once a month, just make it consistent, whatever it is. And then you can dabble in there some opportunities for them. But you need to have that other stuff in there as well.
And here's an idea for you, Mel. So Melanie Robinson does our Mind Power Mondays. So it's a 15 to 20 minute little mindset talk on Monday mornings. At 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. But, matching and mirroring, I've had people say to me, so basically, be a chameleon and let go of who you are. It's not about letting go of who you are. It's about exactly what Mel just said, meeting people where they are at. So hopefully this makes sense to you. And maybe, Mel, you can jump on that as a Tuesday training or a Monday, Mind Power Monday topic at some point here. So one other way that we mirror people in communicating, which is, maybe new over the last 15 years kind of thing, is by email. So is it we have like Alberta on Fire realtor team that we work with quite closely. Warren is not a texter and he's not a great emailer. If we need something, we phone him. That's just how he is. He will text him and sometimes he'll text back or whatever, but oftentimes we'll text him, he'll phone us. You know that person? You text them, next thing, your phone's ringing. What does that tell you about that person? Is that that's how they prefer to be communicated with. So let's go back to our money partners. We're raising money. Our job is to make their life easier. Our job is to fix their problems so that we become a resource and an expert for them, and they turn to us when they need something. If they want to be communicated with by phone, you'll know it because they'll phone you. If you email them and they then email you 2 weeks later and say, sorry, I'm not an email person, I didn't check this, that might give you a hint that maybe texting or phoning, some people want to get together for lunch or a coffee. They want that in person, face to face, or now, right now, because of the time period we're in, a Zoom call. How do people want to be communicated with? You need to pivot and be able to communicate with them how they want to be talked to. If not, that's like any relationship. If you can't get your communication together, you're never going to get a good partnership out of it.
So communication is super, super key, and being consistent. You know, if somebody does send you an email or it's a potential money partner, get back to them. Get back. Don't just sit on it and wait and wait and wait. Like, be a good communicator back and forth. Okay, if they're asking a question, answer the question. Don't ignore questions. So all of these things are pretty common sense, guys. And I know all of you already know this stuff, but sometimes we just need reminders on it. And so really what we've talked about so far today is the importance of building trust. And we do that by building credibility, by good communication, and also by our momentum and our drive, and keeping that train moving. Or if we're not moving yet, starting that train and get it moving so that somebody can jump on that ride with us. So all of these things, these are the things that we've heard from money partners that they are looking for. Okay, so and these are things that every single one of you can put into place. Every single one of you can improve in your communication, can start building your credibility, can start doing the research that you need to do, and can start that momentum and reporting that momentum and keeping in touch with people. This is all fairly simple stuff, but sometimes we need reminders on it, and you will start to see things happening. You will start to see people running alongside your train, wondering if they can grab on, or when they can grab on, or when the perfect time to jump on might be.
Right, Mike?
And that's exactly what starts to happen.
Yeah. It happens overnight. You've put all this time and effort. You know, when a train gets going, it has to exert major energy to get going. But once it's going, it's hard to stop, right? So, and that's the same thing, you know, like Mike and Julie, they've been working for the last year and a half, working and thinking, okay, this has got to hit for me eventually. It took us a year and a half as well. And it was like, I'm busy. It's not like I'm not doing anything. I am busy. I am rolling. But I just don't have that tangible proof yet. But it does hit. So one other thing, just as an honorable mention, we're going to mention is creativity. So creativity is one thing that people want to see in us as working partners. They want to be able to see that, you know what, I can roll with it. If you want email, I'll roll with email. If you want a phone, I'll roll with phone. You know, if you get, you know, a tenant that needs a place to be rented, like we had one place a few years back. Mm-hmm. You mentioned it being 34, but I think you mean 41.
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah, it was 41.
Yeah. Anyways, so you tell them what did we do with that?
Yeah, I mean,
and why does this help us as working partners? Why was a money partner attracted to that?
So way back when, this was back in 09, 20, yeah, like 08 or 09, or maybe even before that. Actually, it was right near the beginning. We had this one property, a beautiful property, but it wasn't renting for some reason. It was vacant, and it's not like there was high vacancy at the time or anything like that, but it was vacant and we couldn't rent it. So we got creative with it. And I remember we went to Costco and we bought a home theater package, which was like these 4 speakers, a little subwoofer. And I hooked it up installed the speakers in the living room. And then we advertised, so it was like $300. It was not very expensive. And we advertised that unit to a free home theater. And it's yours to keep after your lease is done. And we had it rented within a week. And so, it had taken forever to get that place rented. We became creative in our advertising, creative in what we offered. And at the time, a home theater was a cool thing to have. I remember DVD players at the time was a cool thing to have. You wouldn't want to offer a DVD player nowadays, but could you offer an Amazon Fire Stick subscription for the next year? Or these are the types of things where you can be creative. Now that's just property management. When it comes to putting deals together or using different strategies, trying to find ways to make your money partners the most money you can make them. When you're creative in all of this kind of stuff, people can see that. When you tell them stories about stuff that you've done, that builds your credibility. All of these things tie in together.
With a problem that you don't know how to solve. Like this is before they're your money partner. They're just a contact and just a friend, an investor friend. And they come to you with a problem and you get really creative and like, well, what about this? Well, what about that? I'm just thinking out loud here, but what if we were able to figure this out? Or what about this angle? Or whatever it might be. Again, they're seeing that it's not, to me, it's not about creativity. I know that's what it's kind of tacked as, but to me, it's more about being willing to do any and everything that you can and being really, I guess, resourceful, creative in finding what that is. Because if you're going to do that with them on their deal, then you're probably going to do that with them with your tenants. You're probably going to do that with a mortgage. You're probably going to do that with, finding the property itself, with any vacancy issues or any maintenance issues you get. How we do one thing is how we do many things. Dr. Phil, he says all things. I say many. But all of those things roll down to, again, building trust. So do you need a property? No, you can show them a sample. Okay. You can say, this is what I typically buy. Do you need, to have experience? No, but can you have a team that does? Absolutely. And can you use that behind you?
Can you have the drive? Can you have the creativity? Can you have really good communication?
Do people want to jump on a train that's rolling or one that they have to push to get going? So what are you offering your joint venture partners? Notice it is nothing about experience. Mm-hmm. It is nothing about they have to already have had a number of properties. It is all about who you are and how you are. I saw Sherry Harper had said, I agreed to a deal in the spring and they just placed my money. They just got it rolling and my money sat there idle for 6 months. That's a money partner talking, saying, do you think she'll agree to another deal once this one's done? Do you think she'll jump in? Or do you think she might look for other opportunities? Because people with money want their money working for them. They don't want to be sitting there waiting and having to push you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, guys, so that is our training this week. We wanted to share with you our top 4 things a money partner wants. And really it all boils down to trust. We're building trust with money partners. We do that by building up our credibility, backing up our research that we're bringing to them, the statistics we're bringing to them, all that kind of stuff. We talked about having momentum, getting that train rolling and waiting for someone to jump on it. We talked about good communication and some of the skills and the mirroring techniques that we can do when we're communicating with people, when we can follow their way of communication. That is going to help us dramatically. Mm-hmm. And of course, being creative, being a problem solver, finding a problem and fixing it. These are all the things necessary that a money partner wants. So might be a little different than what you came into this evening thinking we would be talking about, but these are the things that we have found to be extremely important when it comes to closing a deal with a potential money partner.
So one last little test for you guys, okay? I want to put all of this in theory to test. So let me ask you a question. If I said to you, my hair is driving me crazy, crazy. Let me ask you a question. If I said to you that I have an opportunity right now to all of you guys that I'm sharing with you. And my opportunity is going to pay you 5% ROI. Now, we all know we can do much better than that, right? But I venture to guess that a large majority of you would say, okay, I'll take it. I'll take 5%. Why? Because we've built our credibility. We've followed through on the things that we said we were going to do. We've built that trust up. And whether it's 5% or 20%, it doesn't really matter because you're investing in the person. And that is so key. And I want you to ask yourself that. If we had an opportunity tomorrow for you to place your money with us, but again, it would only be, 4% or 5%. You could do better. You could double that easily. Would you give it to us? And if you can answer yes, then that just proves the theory of it's not all about the numbers. It's not all about the money. It is about that trust factor and whether or not people have built up their credibility and been of service and given and given and given. So take that as anytime you're doubting yourself and wondering if you've got what it takes to be a working partner, take that as an example. And remember that it's not about the numbers. It's not about the money. Hopefully that works for you.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for the conversation. Thanks for the comments this week. They finally started working here on our screen, so we were able to share some of them. And thanks for joining us. And hopefully some of the points that we shared this week can be put to use this coming week. In the next 7 days, put some of these points that we talked about today into practice and continue to build that trust that you've already started to create. And you never know what comes of it. You never know when somebody running alongside that train wants to jump on.
Yeah, so get that train moving, guys. Get your cabooses
attached to the right train.
Get your caboose moving.
Awesome. And we will see our
we'll
Ignited members over in our Ignited session. Thanks everyone for joining us.
And we will see you in Fearless, our trainings and our whole group. We've got a whole rehaul? New haul. Anyways, revamp. Yeah, for overhaul and revamp. That's what I was thinking. So anyways, look forward to seeing you guys in 2021 and we'll see you next week.
Well, we still have December 22nd next week, don't we?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But, and then
see you next week, guys.